Bitcoin has just had its death warrant signed. I want to talk to you guys about the dollar. It is absolutely skyrocketing right now. It's seen a little bit of a pullback right here, but it's really off to the races. Some of the biggest moves. I know it doesn't look significant, but I'll break this down. Some of the biggest moves we've seen in a little while. And at the same time, we are seeing a further little rip down on the S&P 500 and some actually fairly concerning signs on Bitcoin itself. So you guys know the deal. I am going to try and keep this video balanced. I'm just going to be giving you guys the most objective analysis that I possibly can, but you know, when things are looking bad, I am going to step in, and I'm not going to be afraid of talking about it. And the first thing that I just want to kind of bring to your attention is this kind of downward trending you know, resistance line that looks a little bit like this right here. You know, just kind of holding Bitcoin back ever since Bitcoin set this high at about $25,000. You've been able to see quite a clear kind of series of rejections where we were getting rejected up here, then we formed our little you know, kind of rising wedge pattern. We got rejected right here. Now we're potentially forming something else. We're potentially getting rejected right here as well. If we take a look at where some of our indicators are giving us resistance, we did have resistance on the 1 hour Ichimoku cloud. That's now gone. We've now dealt with that, so that's perfectly fine. But the 1 hour time frame is very small. The 4 hour time frame is much more important, and we haven't even hit this resistance yet. So, you know, if Bitcoin is able to kind of hold these levels literally just into the next 2 days, I think that could become a problem for Bitcoin right here, just seeing this kind of resistance. If we look at momentum, we're battling it right now. On the daily time frame, we now have a big spread. This is bad. There are a lot of bad signs here, ladies and gents. We now have a big spread right here on this ribbon, you know, and that is potentially painting some nasty things in the market as well. Just given that this is going to be kind of, you know, traveling down and potentially could cause some problems for Bitcoin over the next, I don't know, like the next 2-3 weeks if Bitcoin is able to hold these kind of levels. And that is something which I think is well worth keeping in mind. And so really, it sounds like everything's burning, everything's on fire. But the key thing that I just want to remind you guys about now that I've talked about this bearish stuff for a couple of minutes is that I think we're actually doing fairly well considering we're still holding this support level. You know, we do have all of these kind of shorter term signs that the market could be dropping down, but the bottom line, guys, if you just look at these boxes right here, specifically just this orange box, which actually I'm going to go ahead and make this box green because it's a pretty good box. You know, this is kind of the bottom of the range. You know, we could stretch all the way down to, you know, our previous, you know, trend low, and this would still be okay but not ideal. You know, so I think we're not doing horribly. We still kind of are setting higher lows. You know, if we hold this level and recover up, we would be okay as well. So it's not like things are you know, burning at the end of the world or anything like that. Actually, there's quite a few opportunities. Phantom has been on quite a bit of a rip downwards. We've actually been able to trade this inside of VIP, and it has been going very, very well. I actually just locked in an absolutely enormous 80% profit. This all went down inside of 𝗪fly's VIP. You can join by following these steps on screen. It's the first link in the description. Then click on my name and then click on send message. That's the only way to join. Hit an 80% profit. Mention that I probably attempt to close the remainder of my position above 100%, which means doubling my money. And my stop loss was also moved into a guaranteed minimum plus 20% profit. So that is really, really impressive indeed. The next post that I made, this was actually earlier this morning. This one was last night. This morning, we also made a post about Phantom right here, mentioning that we could be looking at, you know, numbers of 150% profit or more, with a bit of an explanation about what I've done. So guys, this is the deal with VIP. When you're inside, you're going to be getting access to all the information about every trade that I'm making, including the levels that I'm entering, moving my stop losses, and so on and so forth. And you're getting explanations behind why I'm doing what I'm doing with the charts to couple that as well. So this chart was shared into VIP, the red line showing my stop loss, you know, and the green line showing kind of where I'd like to be taking profits and so on. And yeah, potentially even down to the very bottom of the channel. So lots of opportunities in the market right here. You guys probably didn't even know that this was something that was looking tradable, but you know, this is what we do. We do try to scour the markets and just kind of look at where the opportunities might be, so that you know, you guys don't need to do all of that work on your own. You know, we do it. I do it, and then I share it inside of VIP. So if you want to jump inside it, it's going to be the first link in the description down below, and then click on my name at the bottom of any post inside of 𝗪𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏. This first link, without any signups, without any downloads, will take you to this page, and then from there you can just click on my name and then click on send message. This is the only way to join. It's a little bit archaic, but at least it means that you know you're getting into a direct chat with me, and if I don't respond, of course, one of my assistants will. But let's move it back to the charts right here and actually talk about the dollar. Now, this is quite a big deal, in my opinion. You know, if you look at what's happened with the dollar right here, and we kind of measure this move from you know, wick to wick, this was a 1.12% move. You know, we don't tend to see moves that are that big super often. This one right here wasn't that big. This was August. We didn't really get many moves that were this big since actually July, pretty much, was the last time that we saw this kind of you know, action on the dollar. And obviously it did retrace a little bit now, but it's very clear what's going on, guys. I mean, I've been talking about this for a little while now. You know, the dollar doesn't really have any resistance, and we're stretching back multiple decades, all the way back to the 60s. You know, the dollar doesn't really have anything that can stop it from rising beyond here. I mean, really, it's just fundamental reasons. If you think for some reason politically or economically that the United States, and specifically the dollar, is going to get very weak, you know, then yes, of course, you know, we could be seeing a little bit of a pullback. But really, you know, from a technical perspective, there's nothing that can really stop the dollar from rising that I can see right now. I'm sure there's always some fringe indicator that indicates something at every particular time, but really, guys, let's be honest, there's just not much wiggle room right here, and this is potentially going to be causing a lot of problems for Bitcoin. So this is something I'm keeping an eye on. You know, so far the carnage isn't that bad at all. I really don't think we're in such a bad position. If we take a look at the fear and greed index, you know, we're looking okay over here. We're still in extreme fear. Yesterday we were at 20. You know, we are obviously trending down. That's exactly what we want to see. We don't want to see people being too optimistic in these markets. Longs are fucking ridiculously high again. This is, again, continuously the one issue that this market is facing, you know, and I think it is going to continue to cause some problems for Bitcoin right here. But you know, bottom line, guys, I think that if Bitcoin does end up sliding lower, you know, if I show you what I had on this chart, you know, we've got this area of support right here. If we fail this, yeah, it would be a little bit of a steep drop down to our local our trend low. Honestly though, you know, I mean, we don't want to see Bitcoin coming down here. It would be okay given that this is support. You know, maybe we form a kind of double bottom, but I don't want to see Bitcoin coming down here. Honestly, I think it would be more likely that we actually just plummet below it if that happens. And, you know, I think a lot of that is going to be dependent on the dollar. I think a lot of that is going to be dependent on if the S&P 500, which closes very shortly in 1 hour, on if the S&P 500 is able to hold this level, you know, and that means basically, do we drop out or do we bounce? And, you know, I think that if we drop out, that's going to be another, you know, there's always many, you know, final nails in the coffin, so to speak. There's always many nails in the coffins that you can see, you know, poking through when something is dead or about to die. You know, and one of them is the dollar pumping up. That is, like I said, potentially Bitcoin's death warrant. But, you know, the S&P 500 losing this support area could be as well, because it's got quite a drop until it captures support again, potentially on this chart. Like, I'm not seeing any real support until, you know, kind of down to the 3400 area. And the reason that I think that's pretty important is, you know, if you look at something like Bitcoin, given the fact that Bitcoin does generally correlate pretty well with the S&P 500, especially when the S&P 500 is weak, you know, that's when we tend to see Bitcoin getting even weaker. You know, there's quite a big drop, you know, that Bitcoin could be facing if something like that happens. So that's something that I'm keeping an eye on in this market as well. There's quite a lot going on. It's a very fun, hectic time. And if you want to get inside the market, BitGet is offering you guys $8,000 in bonuses for signing up using my link in the description down below. So if you like the sound of that, if you want to get yourself a huge bonus, you know, for just signing up to an exchange that I'm using, an exchange that I'm trusting with my own trading activities, then check them out with the link in the description down below. When you sign up using that link, you're going to be getting your bonus. If you want to jump inside VIP, see how we were able to pull off this trade and how we're going to be pulling off trades in the future. Obviously, I'm not ripping trades like this all the time. You know, I do lose money as well. That's part of the that's part of being a trader. So if you want a really realistic view into what it is being a trader, you know, what it's like, and how I navigate these wins and losses and so on, obviously this is a really nice one. But hopefully you can tell that I'm not actually very happy. I don't get happy when I make money, and I don't get sad when I lose money. really important mental state to be in. These are the kind of things that we teach you guys about inside of VIP, and just the fact that you get to you know, see how these gains are made in real time as well on top of that, with all the explanations behind absolutely everything, is very powerful. So if you do want to get yourself inside, then once again, these steps on screen, these 3 red boxes, are the only ways to join, is the only way to join 𝗓𝗡ly's VIP. I'll just leave this on screen here for you guys for a minute. And if you want to check out BitGet, then like I said, you're getting $8,000 in bonuses when you sign up using that link down below potentially. So go ahead and check that out. But if you have enjoyed this one, you know what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell. It was a very rushed video today, but I will be back with another one, hopefully a little bit longer tomorrow. Hope you have enjoyed this one. You know what to do, and I'm out. Bye-bye.